Why am I not going modular yet? Because with Arturia Pigments and the Push 3, I can still get that modular mindset. And today, I'll build a nice performative patch and do a quick jam to show you. Stay with me. Welcome back to the Five Dot Loft, where the process is the story. I'm Al Clark. If you want to jump to the Pigments sound design section, or even the jam section, check out the timestamps below. But if you're interested, or should I say even tempted, to take that deep dive into modular synthesis, and specifically Eurorack, well, here's my take on it. First of all, I'm going to say modular is very tempting. There's nothing quite like twisting a real knob, patching a cable, and instantly feeling the sound change under your hands. Modular gives you that direct, hands-on interaction that's hard to match on a screen. And those modules, with their sort of cool graphics, lights and knobs, very cool. Secondly, it's a completely custom or personal experience in that you're building exactly the kind of instrument that you want. And because you can connect anything to anything, you end up discovering sounds that you could not have planned, right? Those happy accidents that they talk about are a part of the experience. And finally, modular is not just modules and patch cords. It's an art form, a community. It's a mindset that embraces the unpredictability of mixing and matching voltages in a kind of chaotic playground, a space that really inspires and demands creativity. And here lies some of the challenges, because that space that demands your creativity also demands your patience. There seems to be a very steep learning curve for this stuff. The more I read and watch videos, the more I realize that just to get a basic sound out of the case, with some shaping and processing, takes some effort. It's the exact opposite of plug and play. So one of the requirements is time. And the question is for me, do I want to spend my limited amount of time figuring things out, or do I want to spend my limited amount of time making music? Now, we also have to address the really obvious challenge for modular, and that is the cost. Arturia Pigments has 3 engines, a 3-oscillator analog voice, a physical modeling voice, an additive engine, a sampler, a wavetable. There's multi-effects units, tons of modulation, and a sequencer. You couldn't even come close to that kind of flexibility for less than multiple thousands of dollars in Eurorack. Let's assume you have a computer and a DAW already. Can you build a modular case for under 1,000 US dollars? Yes. Can it come close to what you can get out of a $100 software synth like Pigments? In my research, so far, the answer is no. So yeah, modular is super cool, super appealing, but it's just not exactly the right time for me yet. The racks, the modules, the learning curves, I'd probably spend more time troubleshooting than actually making music. But here's the thing, I don't need modular to think modular. That mindset, connecting ideas, experimenting with modulation, letting the sound be performative, evolve in unexpected ways. I can do that right here in Pigments and right here in Push 3 when I map the parameters right to the hardware controllers. It can give me that performance feel that modular offers. So let's dive into Pigments and take a look at this patch. Okay, so we're here in Ableton Live and I've got an instance of Pigments going. So, nice. Attached to the Push 3. So, okay, so what's the concept here? The concept is that I wanted to do a patch that was like what's called rings into clouds. So I didn't know what rings into clouds was like 9 days ago. So just look it up, like Google it, YouTube search, rings into clouds. What rings is it's a module, like a Eurorack module, that is a modal engine, just like in Pigments. And what Clouds is, it's like a granular sampling delay thing, which I think there is that in Ableton, but what I'm going to do is the second engine, I'm just going to use the sampler engine, which is here. And I'm just going to use the granular approach here. So I'm going to have two voices, actually I'm going to have three voices, and the third voice is going to be the utility engine that's going to play this noise sample. So in fact, let's just start with that. So let's just start with that noise sample. So it's, I know, totally cliche, right? But we're going to use it anyway, okay? So there's my noise sample that I'll use in the mix. And then the first engine is going to be this modal engine. So let me just bring this up. I have my amp, attack, and release pretty far down. So we're just getting pretty dry sound here. But what this gives us is the ability to have an attack portion and a sustain portion, and I'm using the beam function here instead of the string function. I'm using the beam function, so it's more like a xylophone, marimba kind of thing. And there's all sorts of sound shaping possibilities here. You can read about them in the manual, but really it's a matter of just going ahead and just trying things out. Now, where's that going? No filters on either of these patches. That's going to go into the effects unit, and I'm going to throw onto that a nice delay, and it's actually a pitch delay. Okay. So that's going up by, in dotted quarter notes, that's going up by a fifth. Nice. I know that Clouds, the module Clouds, offers that kind of sound, so that's why I use that. And then I'm also throwing the shimmer reverb on it. And I have a low pass that I can play with on those upper harmonics to open that up. Okay, and so what that's giving me is that sort of like bell-like tonality, and that's what rings is, okay? So what I'm also doing here though, part of modular, a lot of people in modular use outboard sequencers. So they're not, well, listen, for as many modular rigs out there, as many people, there's that many approaches. It's so unique, but a lot of people will use sequencers. So I'm going to use the sequencer inside of here, okay? And I'm in, actually it says C there, but I'm in E minor pentatonic. And so, okay. And that is my bass sound going into from the first engine. Now, let's shut down that first engine and let's go to this second engine, which is the sample. And this is the granular synth. Okay, so what's going on here? And I have this going into the sequencer, so you're hearing the sequence here with this patch, and I'm just going to hold this so I can get my other hand here. What you've got going here, this scan function, that moves, in a sense, the playhead forward on the sample. It's using this shape, this wave shape here, to create the envelope, the volume envelope. And then the size refers to how long each of the grains lasts. And what I'm doing here in terms of the random piece, I'm just randomizing the start. And what that's doing is that's picking out all these different samples from all these different starting points or grains from all over this sample. And you kind of get this randomness to it. Now, nice thing here is you now add a nice delay, or am I on the B side here? Oh yeah. And you add that shimmer reverb also with a low pass on that high end, and you get like a really nice sound. So I can combine this, I can combine it with this, and then I've got that little thing going on there on the noise front. All right, so that's the patch. Let's see if we can jam with it. All right, so we'll start on the, start with just an E note here. And I've got a nice hold function here. So we'll hold that note, and then we'll bring in this, this utility engine. Just a noise engine. All right, let's bring in this granular engine. My amp release time is all the way long. My attack time is real long. I've got this shimmer cranked up. Gives me this nice pad. All right, let's crossfade the first engine in, this modal engine. Remember, this is all running off this sequence. You don't hear the individual notes because of the envelope. All right, let's start to make this happen. Bring down this release time. Bring down this attack time. Start to introduce some rhythm. With some drums. Start to reverse it. So that's why I'm not diving into modular yet. The racks, the cables are beautiful, but Pigments and Push, I can get that same modular mindset, building evolving patches, performing them live, and staying in the creative flow. I hope this showed you that you don't always need new gear to explore new ideas. Maybe I should take my own advice. If this sparks something new for you, let me know in the comments. If you're tempted by modular, or you bring the modular way of thinking into your own setup, let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed this process, a like, a subscribe, it goes a long way. Thanks for hanging out with me in the loft. I'm Al Clark. See you next week.